All right, here's the 411, folks. Say some gangsta is dissing your fly girl. You just give him one of these.
Grapplers in any fighting game live and die by their command grabs. They're often the most defining tools in their whole kit. Potemkin, Zangief, King's entire lineage in his spin-off series, fucking Sailor Uranus? What the... Oh, okay, you know what, fair. But grapplers aren't the only ones who can have command grabs. In fact, it's always such a rare treat when other characters like Ino get one. Those don't count. What do you mean they're all meter? Okay, sure, maybe it's not exactly uncommon to see them in Strive, but I personally don't think that there's a single one anywhere near as exciting as...
Big damage, one more hit could do it. Run up, the command grab! Megalomania.
Megalomania is a ground-based command grab overdrive with the unique ability to put the fear of God into any living creature unlucky enough to be hit by it. Simply having 50 tension on deck for it gives your opponent exactly one more reason to consider jumping or mashing out of your pressure, making the rest of your mix ever so slightly more potent. It has 11 frames of throw invulnerable startup, meaning if you think your opponent might attempt a throw or a throw tech, you can answer back with an even bigger throw in return. On hit, you get good damage and are plus 67, giving you enough advantage to go for a manually timed -JH safe jump, even with your opponent being sent full screen. On a technical note, the frame advantage actually ranges from plus 67 to plus 70 based on your stage position. Plus 70 is achieved when your back is against the wall, but the positions required for plus 68 and plus
69, dudes!
are incredibly specific, only taking a few steps from the wall for your advantage to return to plus 67. The one major downside to Megalomania is the amount of burst it generates for your opponent, giving them roughly 20% with an additional 20% from the wall breaking if you're close enough. 11 frames of startup might seem like a lot, but when compared with the other two command grab overdrives in the game, it's actually the fastest. But still, 11 frames is a long time to be standing still, directly in the opponent's face. What if they press a button? What if they press a moderately sized button? What if they're playing, say, Unica, and they press their very biggest button?
Counter!
So, this is a lesser known quirk about Strive, but overdrive startups are not counter-hit punishable like normals and specials. This is very rarely seen and even more rarely acknowledged, as most supers used at this range have some form of invincibility, and the ones that don't are typically used from safety or in combos. Another thing to point out is that even if you do hit the startup of Megalomania, Ino doesn't lose any meter for the attempt. Overdrives don't actually consume any meter until the Super Flash. Except for you, Angie. Sorry. Speaking of the Super Flash, what if you just jump on reaction? After all, that works against Saul's heavy mob cemetery. Let's try it here. So, Megalomania hits during the Super Flash, so if you haven't already jumped or otherwise made yourself throw invulnerable, you're getting hit, no questions asked. So, you get no special reward for beating out the startup, and you can't react to the Super Flash. So, the best way to punish it would be to jump early then. Let's see how that goes. If the command grab whiffs, the move doesn't just end like most probably imagine it does. Okay, fine. What if you try and hit it after the startup? Oh, my sweet summer child. This is where things get funky. After the Super Flash, Ino gets, right. So we know that from frames 1 to 11 you are throw invulnerable. Then, after the Super Flash, you're fully invincible for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. That's right, 75 frames of full invulnerability. This is, quite frankly, absurd, and allows for interactions like these.
Let's party!
Ready to go!
Okay, so grab's been dodged. Good work. Now, just wait for your punish opportunity. Oh man. Oh, that's rough, buddy. The missile's pushback will naturally leave Eno at a range that's very difficult to punish if done mid-screen. In the corner, this isn't an issue as the projectiles don't push the attacker back on block. Right, so you dodge the grab, you know the missiles are coming, you know you won't be landing any hits for a while, and you know you don't want to be in front of her for that duration. Why not make your way behind Eno and just chill out for a second? So, here's the bit I don't have any concrete numbers or data for, but there's a small radius around Eno where, if you're detected, the missiles will track towards that direction. This radius is active while Eno is firing the missiles, which leads to interactions like this. So, jump the grab, get behind Eno, don't be too close, and wait for the missiles to stop firing. You now have 20 frames to go for a punish. Congratulations! Oh, what's that? You want a counter hit?
That's too damn bad!
So, that's it for the properties of the move. Let's get into how to actually use it. Megalomania is usable in a surprisingly wide variety of situations. Defensively, it has the fewest applications. It makes for a very risky Abare or Wake Up option if you think your opponent is going to go for a throw of their own, and it can also be used as a DP punish if spaced and timed properly, but this is generally just a worse option than using Close Slash unless you know it's going to end the round or you just want to go for style points. On offense, it generally works in the same places that normal throws work, even more so if your opponent thinks you're going to go for a normal throw and they attempt a throw tech. This kind of conditioning does require you to not use Megalo every single time you have 50 tension, but I am in no way qualified to teach people about how conditioning works. I've been playing fighting games for over 20 years and I still don't get it. If you've got full meter though, it's possible to pull off some offensive Megalomania setups. And I do mean offensive because, well, just look for yourself. Firstly, you can use either variant of Stroke the Big Tree into Forward Drift Fast Purple Roman Cancel Megalomania, which for future reference I'll just call the Megalo Jump Scare. S or H stroke into the jump scare is a common way to land Megalo because it greatly increases the range that you're able to threaten Megalo from, with H stroke being a good option to cover the distance created by faultless defense. Plus, two of the more common responses to stroke, blocking or throwing, both get blown up by Megalo. That said, stroke can still be stuffed with a counter poke, as can the PRC, in which case you'll lose 50 tension. You can use this technique to fake out S or H block string enders, which definitely adds a year to your sentence and at least a week in solitary confinement. Final sentence, 5 or 6 years in prison. However, if you're looking for an extended stay in the rubber room full of rats that makes you crazy, this one might be a bit more your speed. Now, this one will lose you friends, but it's so much fun to do. This setup relies on good spacing, timing, and execution. Once you've cancelled into Note, a short delay before the Megalo jump scare is required for the Note projectile to actually activate. The Note itself isn't really used, it's just misdirection. That being said, depending on your stage position, the Note can actually hit your opponent while they're being juggled by the projectiles, adding on a little bit of extra damage. Final sentence, 10 years in prison, no parole. The final setup here is actually an on-hit setup, and it's actually quite simple. Anytime you can confirm into a grounded S or H stroke hit, you can do a slightly delayed jump scare to ensure you get purple Roman cancel instead of red Roman cancel. This works on the fastest stagger escape timing, so it is guaranteed. Ways to do this include 2K 6P S stroke, close slash 6P or 2H S stroke, and H stroke 6P or 2H S stroke. 2K and close slash can also be comboed into from a jump slash, a single button that I previously did a video on. Link is in the description if you want to watch that one too. That all said, using any starter other than close slash actually makes the whole sequence do less damage than Megalo on its own, and close slash has much higher damage combo routes available, including fully meterless ones in the corner. Why would you ever use this setup then? Because, for what my opinion is worth, I don't think there's a more satisfying way to end a round.
Ready to go.
play with me again.
Final sentence. This video ends in the middle of